Hello, this is Harry, and welcome again to a senior's perspective with a twist. I have what I think is a sort of exciting subject that I want to talk about today with you, and that is the subject of seniors and the weather. You might think that's a strange subject to talk about, but it really isn't, because we as seniors, most of us, keep an eye on the weather. Well, let's first talk about what weather is. What is weather? Well, it's a mix of events that happen each day in our atmosphere. All kinds of things are taking place that make up our weather up in the sky, and the result is it comes down to Mother Earth. And in the atmosphere, there's air masses, there's currents, moisture, temperatures up there, heat and cold is up there, and it comes down through the clouds, precipitation. There's also air pressure, which affects the masses, the air masses that are up in the atmosphere. Then, depending on where you're at, if you're in the Appalachians, or if you're out where the Sierra Madres are, if you're someplace where there's a rise in the land, whether it's, a hill, a mountain, those particular items can also affect our weather. We have Canadian current that comes down and affects us, especially in the wintertime. We get those Arctic blasts that come and affect our weather from day to day, week to week, month to month, and year to year. This is all part of our weather patterns that we are affected by. So, weather is important to us as seniors. Happens every day. We get those forecasts. Some people get the forecast for one day, some for 2 days. Some want to know what it's going to be for the next 10 days. And those forecasts are out there, and they're available to us if we so decide that, for a specific area, find out what the weather's going to be in that area. Right now, in the Midwest, I can find out what the weather is going to be for a certain city out west because of technology. I can find out what it's going to be on the East Coast because of our technology that we have today. I can find out right now what the weather forecast is going to be for Los Angeles, Sacramento. Any of those cities I pull up on my phone, I can find out not only what the weather's going to be, but when I say the weather's going to be, I'm talking about for today, but the wind current. I can find out the precipitation, chances of precipitation. All that can be found out in this modern day of technology. You might say, so, what does that have to do with seniors? It's got a whole lot to do with us as seniors, because climate, its change, is of a great concern for the whole world, or many in the world today, especially those who have technology at their disposal where they can find out. Now, if you live in certain locations throughout the world, and I won't single out any particular one, but I'm saying if they do not have technology, it's difficult, other than whatever ways they've been using to find out what the weather's going to be for them in those particular areas. But for those of us who have technology at our disposal, at our hand. We can tell you what the weather's going to be. But again, Harry, you said that weather's important for seniors. Yes, it is. And we're going to get into that. All we got to do is see how important weather is. Look at the California fires. I feel for those people. They've been affected. Look at the people down in Florida and recent, within the last 6, 7, 8, 9 months. Well, say last year, they've been affected by tornadoes. They've been affected by, especially in Florida, by hurricanes, and Louisiana, and you go up north of Florida, start getting into Georgia and the Carolinas. Those areas have been affected greatly by our weather. As I said, the hurricanes and fires have caused a lot of concern, especially the people out in Los Angeles, many have lost their homes. That's a sad scene, and prayerfully our government will assist them in the ways that they stand in need of. And I know there are other ways of helping them as well. So, in this day and age that we live in, where weather does affect us, it affects seniors, and it can affect our health, and does affect our health. All you got to do is go to times I can remember up in Chicago and other cities when we were having those heat waves, and older people were being affected. And even down here in the Midwest, well, Chicago is part of the Midwest, but the weather affects us to the point that you've heard of heat strokes. People can have, one of my cousins, I believe he died because of it. He was sitting out in the hot air, and he was a senior, I believe, or close to it. If he wasn't a senior, he was close to it. And he passed away from heat stroke. He should have been somewhere where it was, and that was in Illinois. And he should have been somewhere where he could get water and so forth and so on. He didn't get it. And he had a sunstroke, or heat stroke, I should say, and no longer with us. That happened a lot of years ago. But a rapid change in weather can affect seniors. A quick change in cold, a quick change in the heat can affect a senior to the point that they could be put in danger medically because of heat. We as seniors do need to take care of ourselves. We do need to know, I'm talking about especially the ones of us who are in and out of our homes or wherever it is that we reside. We still have our mobility. Our mind is still working right. We can still dress ourselves. We as seniors need to take note of the weather. So I think this is an important subject for us as seniors. I saw a guy a couple of days ago. It was 20, maybe 27 degrees outside. He was a young man. And he had his bag, looked like a leather bag with the strap on his shoulder. And he was walking in a nice looking, maybe like a polo shirt, short sleeve, in the cold. And I thought about him, and I thought, that's not very smart. Then I thought back. There was a time where I did some unwise going out in the cold like that times. There were some times when I did that. And I learned you don't do that. If I take my trash out, I put my jacket on. There was a time when I didn't do that. But I learned that you don't know what could happen. Suppose I slip and fall. and there's snow all around me right now. Suppose I just gonna take the trash out of the house, but I slip and fall, hit my head, and I'm laying there. The chances of me surviving go down when I'm not dressed properly. Now, maybe I would have survived. I'd come to, get up, dust myself off. Maybe I do need to go to the hospital because of, hit my head. But I had my jacket on. But suppose I didn't have my jacket on and I went out, or you went out without your jacket in cold weather and you slipped and you fell. There you are laying for a while. And suppose nobody comes. There you are. You got an event. You're in the star of the show in that event because you didn't put your jacket on. So weather's important to know and to be aware of in this day and time. As I said, weather can change. It can be 70 degrees one day and 40 degrees the next day. And there's even been instances where the temperatures have dropped 20-some degrees in one day or more. Seniors are affected by the weather. We, as seniors, are vulnerable to extreme weather conditions, especially heat and cold. We're no longer young like we used to be, and chances of survival of a situation like that goes up for a younger person than it does for an older person, because our bodies have physiologically changed over the years, and weather conditions of heat and cold can greatly affect the body of an aging senior, because our bodies now sometimes have trouble regulating itself. And that's why sometimes we can be sitting in the house and we get cold. And I know there are options that we could turn up the heat, or we could put on a sweater. Sometimes that's what we do. In the house, we put on a coat or a jacket, and some of the young people look at us like we cuckoo. Ain't nothing wrong with us. We're just regulating or helping the regulation of our body temperature by putting a jacket, a sweater, a house coat, another shirt, something on to help maintain the heat that's in our bodies. Because as we said, difficulty comes when you start aging, and you may not be able to keep the heat that you once was able. It was no problem when you were younger, but as we age, our bodies sometimes have difficulty staying warm. Or some people, the heat and the cold affect, I know younger people affects them differently, but generally an older person, not all, because there's still some that have been blessed and they're not affected by temperature changes like other seniors are. But we need to take note. All seniors need to take note. Know your body. Know when you get cold what you should do, and make a habit of, if you're cold, get up and put something on, or turn the heat up. My thing is, not turning the heat up. I'm going to leave the heat where it's at, but I'm going to put something else on. Or if I get hot, I take something off because I don't want to overheat as well. So aging bodies, us seniors, have trouble regulating the temperature, our own body temperatures. And another factor could be pre-existing health conditions. Now, you've heard of some people, especially ladies, have trouble staying warm. Now, some men have that too, but generally it's ladies who have trouble keeping warm. And I've heard that a man's skin is twice as thick. Now, again, I say I've heard this. And I think I've heard it medically as well, but I'm gonna leave it out there. I think that's the case, that men's skin is thicker than a woman's, but either one can have iron issues. Men can have iron issues, and sometimes that can be related to staying warm, because the iron is low, that we need to put something else on to keep us warm. So pre-existing medical conditions can be a factor that we as seniors are affected by, our bodies not being able to keep that heat. In severe conditions such as when there's a lot of heat, I already spoke about my cousin who passed away from a heat stroke. There's also a possibility of having hypothermia, like you're outside and it's very cold, you're in a snowy area and you have to walk for 4 or 5 miles, maybe even 2 or 3, maybe even a mile, but your body starts sweating under the layers of clothes that you have on, and it causes a problem internally. You can have what's called hypothermia, and you get ill. And if you don't get to a place where you can take those clothes off and get dry again, but your body stays wet and cold, you could have a medical event, and people have been known to die of hypothermia. So that's another thing that we as seniors have, heat stroke and hypothermia. But there's even another factor, such as lack of mobility. Some seniors can't move. They can't get around. Maybe they're on crutches, or they have some kind of something wrong with their legs, their feet, or a knee, or whatever. And because of lack of mobility, that could be a factor in affecting a senior in their location, wherever they're at. So these are things that make the matters worse when we can't move around. If you're a senior and it's hot outside, and you're in a wheelchair, or in other words, your mobility is compromised and you can't get to open up a door, get to where you need to open up the door. Usually someone else has to do that for you because of your condition. Well, that's a problem. So the weather on the outside can affect the temperature on the inside of wherever a person is, wherever they're staying. So these are matters that complicate a senior's safety when it comes to weather, mobility. It makes it difficult for the senior to be safe. Other conditions that affect the regulation of a senior's body are heart disease. Because of heart disease, they're restricted in what they can do. And, like a doctor said, I don't want you moving around a whole lot. Seniors affected by that. Diabetes can affect a senior during, weather situations of a lot of heat or a lot of cold can affect the outcome of a senior's safety. So these are factors that, as we talk about this, seniors and the weather, let us take note to, carry ourselves in a smart and a safe way, that we need an emergency plan in place in case situation happens that, because of lack of mobility, or because of a pre-existing medical condition, heart disease, diabetes, or respiratory problems that some people have, whatever it may be, weather can affect all of those for us as seniors. And we're not getting no younger. So we need to be aware and to take care in times of adverse weather conditions, when it snows a lot, I still shovel my snow, and I'm a senior. But I also regularly try to work out. Sometimes I use hand weights. I stretch. And I'm just talking about what I do for myself, because I know I'm not getting no younger. And I've only maybe had my snow shoveled once or twice that I can remember. And that was probably in my 30s or 40s. For whatever reason, I think some kids came and knocked on the door and asked could they shovel my snow. And I allowed them to do it. And I was thinking to myself, man, I'm paying this money and I could be out there doing it, saving that money. But I let them do it anyway. But here I am, a senior, over 60, and I still shovel my snow. Now, I remember shoveling the snow the other day. I had to take breaks. And it wasn't because of hypothermia. It was because I was so tired. And I mean, I was shoveling. And my driveway, I'm sitting in my car right now. I'm looking at, I'm thinking 50 feet, 60 feet long is the driveway. But I was still shoveling it. But I had to take breaks because I didn't used to have to take breaks. But my body's aged. And so I took breaks in order to get the job done. And then as I got closer to the street, when them big snowplow trucks come by, they take that snow and it gets packed at the end of the driveway. And it's heavier than the snow that's, near your car in your driveway or over on your grass. So I had to take that into account, save a little bit of energy for when I got down at the end of the driveway that I'd be able to, that snow was heavy. Anyway, I'm just saying, it may come a time when I have to pay somebody to shovel my snow. Because like I said, I'm not getting any younger, but I don't mind shoveling my snow. It's not a problem, but I have to use good sense. I'm talking to you about using good sense. I also have to use good sense when it comes to shoveling my snow. Then the last thing I'm going to talk about is we need to dress properly for each season of weather. Now I know the temperatures go up and they come back down. We need to have our wardrobes ready to accommodate our bodies anytime, we're presented with a change in our weather, which could affect our bodies. Remember that temperature in our bodies has to be regulated, and it's usually regulated by temperature. And what regulates the temperature? The amount of clothing we either have on or take off. And that would be a good thing for us to remember to do. Check the forecast before we decide we're getting ready to go out. I'm supposed to be going out tomorrow with family for a meal. And I've been checking the weather so far, and they're talking about 14 degrees or colder. And what I need to do is be ready to have more than enough clothing than not enough clothing before I go out. So with that being said, seniors and weather, we are affected by the weather, and it's up to us to use good sense and planning to try to take care of ourselves, not only ourselves, but loved ones or a neighbor that you know who maybe don't have air conditioning. Maybe you could help them or give them, something, you got an extra fan or extra air conditioner. We don't just look out for ourselves, but we also should be looking out for our neighbors as well. So, talking about seniors and weather, I'm done. I thank you for looking at this video. If you have not subscribed, I ask that you would. I'm trying to get more subscribers. And then also, if you have any comments, I welcome them as well. I hope that something that's been talked about today has been helpful. I say thank you for watching and viewing this video. Thank you and have a good day.